Have you ever had to ad-lib anything where you're just like, this is just not working?
Yeah, I was gonna ask because I was because Oron, like Tamaki, like refers to himself as daddy a lot, and in English that's a little weirder. So I was actually meant to ask you, like, did you ever think like, no, I'm not gonna say that?
Well, there have been, I mean, you know, again, having done as many shows as I have, there have been a lot of experiences I've had with every different conceivable scenario. Where sometimes the word is the word and what was written and you got to do, and other times it's like, you know, change it up if you feel like it would work better or if it would fit better, and then sometimes, you know, there'll be certain things that you want to say that the script will have you say that I don't really no, and depending on the director and the show, they're usually pretty good about allowing you to make small adjustments, and then of course there are cultural things. Mm-hmm. You know, often there are anime series where they'll reference a holiday or some sort of a cultural festival or some kind of something that's indicative of Japan. It doesn't make any sense to us. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have the same impact. Like, you know, if they say, you know, come on, it's an apple blossom pie day or whatever, you know, and we don't even have that. So we're going to change it to something else, you know. So there are always little tweaks. Another little interesting thing, and I know you're taking voice acting and stuff, another interesting thing is that when a writer writes a script and he's looking at the flaps and he's writing what he thinks is going to fit in that character's mouth flaps, he doesn't necessarily perform the line the way you're going to perform the line. Mm-hmm. What if you speak faster than he does? Suddenly the line's too short. And so when you get into the studio, you have to often adapt it to make it fit for the way you are doing the character. There are a lot of little things like that come into play almost in every session.
Wow.
And the goal, of course, is always to try to make it sound natural,
right?
Even when it's not natural. Like if there's a pause right in the middle of a sentence, and you know what I mean, or the character's flapping along and then he stops. And there's just one little rogue flap at the end. You're like, what the heck was that? You got to try to figure out how to cover it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know? And maybe the line wasn't even written to fit it. And you've got to figure out a way to make it sound natural and believable and still cover that kind of weird cadence of mouth movements. It's a lot more challenging than people think it is. I've always said people that do it really well make it look easy. It's not easy. There are a lot of prelay voice actors who don't do anime, and they're not good at it because it's not enough to just perform the line. Mm-hmm. You have to perform the line in a very strict, confined, sequence of mouth movements. So and still make it sound natural.
So does that make it harder than doing something like video game character?
Yes. I think anime dubbing is the hardest of voice acting there is, without question. Anytime you have to deliver a believable performance to animation that already exists, it's an extra added layer of challenge.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Prelay, video games that are not already done, like any video game or animated series that's prelay. You know, prelay means you lay the audio down first.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The actor has complete freedom to do whatever he wants, to say the line as slow as he wants, or as loud as he wants, or pause where he wants, and perform. It's very freeing, and it's a lot easier than saying, oh, well, I understand that's your instinct for that line, but you can't do that because it has to be done quicker, and there has to be a pause here, and, whatever. There are often times when I would be looking at a script and I would read a line and I would think, I know how I want to say that line. And then the animation comes on screen and the guy's doing something or sitting in a way or talking to someone in a way or facial expression is drawn in such a way that the way I wanted to read the line won't work.
You're like, nope.
That's not
out the window.
That's not gonna. My idea will not work.